Hey, this is Sebastian from socialanxietysolutions.com. I am a personal coach and I help people with social anxiety feel calm and relaxed in social situations. And in this video, while I'm on my little walk here, I wanted to talk a little bit about this fear of becoming anxious, fear of experiencing anxiety. And this is just going to be a little rant. And hopefully it's helpful to you. I think it is, because you'll probably be able to relate. So one of the fears I see a lot in my clients over and over again, and a fear that I definitely struggled with a lot myself, is, well, what if they're gonna see me anxious? What if they see that I'm nervous? What if they notice that I'm awkward and uncomfortable, and what if, right? And it kind of comes from, well, if they do see me nervous and anxious, then they will judge me, and they will judge me as maybe weak or a loser or inferior, and my reputation will change. All of these thoughts are associated with it. So that is part of the fear, as well as the fear of the symptoms themselves. So interestingly enough, what happens when we get anxious for a while, if this is something that happens for you quite a bit, then you oh, beautiful, look at this. You become really afraid of the social anxiety symptoms themselves, because your subconscious, because it's such an uncomfortable experience, starts to notice whenever you're perceiving a threat that the anxiety symptoms are there as well. So it's starting to recognize that the beating heart, the lump in your throat, the tightness in your chest is actually part of the threat. And so in your brain, the symptoms themselves start to become seen as a threat, and then lead to an even stronger fight, flight, freeze response. And it's kind of, you keep the loop going, and it's obviously not very helpful. So what we want to do is we want to look at, all right, well, what are my reactions to my social anxiety symptoms? How do I feel about the symptoms that I'm having, and what are the thoughts that are coming up for me? And each of the thoughts and each of the feelings that are coming up for you, they all become tappable targets, and you can target them individually and then tap on them. So what you want to get to, our outcome is being free of social anxiety, right? However, I consider myself to be free of social anxiety. However, there are situations which I maybe haven't been in before, and I'll feel some discomfort. It's part of life. It actually happens. It's normal. But the big difference is that I don't get a panic attack. I don't have a severely anxious reaction. If I start something new, or if, such as, I don't know, I started salsa dancing recently, and first time I went to like a social dance, and I went to dance with some girls that I didn't know yet. And my social skills, my salsa skills aren't all that. Yeah, I was a bit anxious, a little bit, like maybe a 2 out of 10. And that's okay. It is the mindset that you have when those anxiety symptoms come up that determines how well you're doing in that moment. So you can either, the symptoms can come up and you can freak out about it, and that will make them get out of control, get bigger, and so on. Or you can be in a place of, all right, well, that happens, I'm still okay, because what I found is that a lot of people, they judge themselves for having the symptoms. Now they are anxious, and as a result, that means that they're not as worthy of respect from others. They're a loser, they're weak, they're inferior, and so on. And what you want to get to is like, hey, I accept myself while I'm dealing with this challenge. And anxiety doesn't mean that I'm a loser or weak or anything. It just means that my system is perceiving a threat, and it's reacting appropriately. Now, it learned to see this situation as a threat. It's not helpful. It's not helpful to see this situation as a threat, but it is happening. My system is reacting as if there really is a threat. Now that sucks. You can beat yourself up all about you can beat yourself up about that all you want, but it's not really gonna remove the threat, and it's definitely not gonna reduce your anxiety. It's actually gonna make the situation worse, because now you have the anxiety to deal with, and you feel upset about yourself, you feel this fear, oh, what if these symptoms aren't gonna go away, I need to push it away, maybe I need to take some deep breathing. Whereas what you wanna do instead is you just wanna start finger tapping, and you just wanna be noticing the truth of what's going on. So you're dealing with these symptoms, and it's uncomfortable, it's unpleasant to say the least, it's very challenging, it's not something that you want, and the stronger your anxiety is, the more challenging it is to have this kind of approach to it. But with practice, it gets better. So you do the tapping, just do the finger tapping. You can do it in your pocket, you can do it behind your back, whatever. And you're accepting the symptoms to be there, because they are, and getting upset about it is not going to make it any better. There's quite a bit of information about, well, the anxiety that comes up for you, it has the same physiological symptoms as excitement. There's I forgot the guy, The Power of Why, or start with what, Simon Sinek. He talks about it, how before a speech he notices the nervous sensations in his body, and he tells himself, it's just excitement, I'm really excited. Brendan Burchard, one of the marketing guys, he talks about it as well. It's a common thing in neuroscience. I read it in this new anxiety book as well, Dare. They have some good points to make. My coach used to say it as well. Oh, well, just reframe it to be anxiety. And I'd say to her, yeah, listen, I know the difference between excitement, which is a good feeling, and anxiety, which is a very fearful, dreadful, unhappy feeling. However, like my experience is that for example, with the salsa thing, when my quote unquote anxiety was at a 2 out of 10, that didn't bother me, and I had, I'm not judging myself for dealing with these symptoms. I'm not upset with myself for feeling a bit of discomfort when I'm trying something out. I'm not upset with the status quo of my emotional well-being, and I've done a lot of tapping in order to get to that place, because it's the most helpful mindset that I've found, at least, in order to be at peace with yourself and in order to be at peace in the world. So when the anxiety or nervous energy in your body is just at a 2 out of 10, yeah, then it's possible to put a frame of excitement about it. And that frame of mind actually can shift things around. It's like, hey, yeah, I'm excited because I'm trying out this new salsa move, and let's see how well I can do. When you're actually dealing with very strong anxiety, I have not experienced that to be beneficial, but that's just me. I haven't tried it. If you try it out, you have very strong anxiety and you manage to make it feel like excitement, then let it know in the comment section, and be curious. I'm always learning as well, So anyway, guess what I'm trying to say here is the fear of becoming anxious, fear of other people seeing you anxious is very common. People are dealing with it. You're not alone in it, and you can get rid of that fear to get to a place where you are okay with the anxiety symptoms showing up, because you're allowing them to be there, you're accepting them, you're seeing them for what they really are. Instead of the cultural programming that says you're weak, you're pathetic, you're a loser, you're inferior, and that kind of stuff, you have a realistic perspective. It's like, hey, my brain is reacting as if there's a threat. Okay, sucks, but hey, I'm dealing with it. I can deal with it. I've dealt with it before. It'll pass. And when I'm at home, or when I work with my coach, or when I go through XYZ program, I'll work through the triggers. I'll work through the origins of why my brain is perceiving a threat in that particular situation, and then I can move through it. But right now in this moment, I'm dealing with it, so I'll deal with it. And you just add the tapping to it. And that's a mindset that takes a bit of practice. But as you practice that more and more, you'll get better and better at it. And that's really going to help you in being able to live your life. You know, you don't want to be hiding in your room forever until you're done with your anxiety, because that's a road that leads to nowhere. I think Tony Robbins says that's a road to a town called nowhere. You know, you want to keep living your life, doing the tapping, having a mindset of, all right, I can handle these symptoms because they don't define me as a person. You know, a lot of what I find as well is when I work with clients who have like a really severe fear of other people seeing them anxious, it's often that they're afraid that once the other people see them anxious, that they'll lose their respect. So their sense of, you know, the level of self-respect is very dependent on other people. Hey, if they respect me, I respect me. If they think I'm cool, then I can respect myself. If they think I'm an awesome person, then I can respect myself. And as a result, their emotional state is very, very much fluctuating. And then you're very much seeking for approval, you know, in order to fill up this hole, this emptiness inside, which actually you want to fill up with respecting yourself. Well, because when you respect yourself, hey, I respect myself regardless of whether other people respect me. That's a very empowered place to come from, because then you don't necessarily need other people's approval. It's nice if they give it to you, but you don't need it in order to respect yourself, because your self-respect is solid and it comes from within. Now, how to get to that place, that might be for another video, but I thought I'd rant a little bit about this fear of becoming anxious, and in summary, you want to replace that by an acceptance of your symptoms and an acceptance of yourself and a respect of yourself, despite the challenges that you're dealing with. We actually need some more self-compassion. Less beating up on yourself, more self-compassion. All right, so hope it's been helpful. If you have any questions or any feedback, leave it in the comments below. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, you can do that here or here. And if you are new to the tapping, you haven't experienced the tapping yet, I have a free social confidence starter kit where you get a free EFT video course and my ebook, How to Overcome Social Anxiety, completely. And in there I share what I use to overcome my social anxiety and how you can do the same. So you can check that by, you can get that by clicking on the link below this video in the description box on YouTube, or going to my website, socialanxietysolutions.com. All right, by the way, there's something very exciting coming up in a couple of weeks. Couple is 2 in the US. That's not how I mean it. Let's just say a bunch of weeks. More on that very soon. All right, bye for now. Talk to you next Thursday. Bye.